Daniel had always believed that life was just an endless cycle of temporary jobs. At 32 years old, he lived in a small apartment on the outskirts of a big city, barely managing to pay rent. Even though he had studied accounting, he never managed to find a job in his field. Instead, he bounced from one job to another, always in the service sector, with low pay and little growth potential. His days were a repetitive sequence of long hours, customer service, and exhausting returns home. But, ironically, Daniel never felt truly busy. Despite spending 8 hours a day at work, what was left of his routine was an unproductive void. He spent his nights on the couch, watching YouTube videos or mindlessly scrolling through social media. It was as if he was just surviving, with no clear direction. One day, returning from another tedious shift at the coffee shop where he worked as a barista, Daniel received a message from an old college friend, Raphael, whom he hadn't seen in years. Raphael was different. He had always had a restless, creative mind. The message read, "Hey Daniel, how's it going? I've got something that could change your life. It doesn't hurt to try, man. Check out this link." Daniel hesitated. He wasn't one to believe in magic formulas or quick-fix promises. His skepticism had been fed by so many frustrated dreams. But something about that day, maybe the exhaustion or the simple desire for change, made him click the link. The page that opened wasn't just another self-help website. It was something deeper and more direct, titled The Code of Free Time: How to Get Rich in 6 Months Using Your Extra Hours. The page made an unusual proposition. The key to getting rich quickly wasn't working more, but using free time efficiently. If you can find 2 hours in your day, I'll show you how to turn that small window of time into a money-making machine, the introductory text read. Daniel laughed at first. It seemed ridiculous to think that just 2 hours of focus could change his financial situation. However, there was something convincing about it. The site featured testimonials from ordinary people, workers like him, who had tried the method and managed to get rich in a short time. Daniel read more carefully. The content didn't promise immediate wealth or pyramid schemes. It was a method of maximizing free time to learn high-demand skills and apply them strategically. The central concept was simple. In modern times, where everyone's attention is fragmented, those who know how to use their free time in a concentrated and productive way can gain an advantage over the majority. The code was divided into 3 pillars: accelerated learning, high-leverage actions, and building a digital asset. The plan seemed simple on the surface, but it required discipline. The first step was to learn a new skill that was in high demand, like programming, digital marketing, graphic design, or copywriting. The second step was to apply this skill directly to freelance projects, even if the initial pay was low. And the third step was the most intriguing: create a digital asset that would continue to generate passive income over time, such as an online course, an ebook, or a content platform. Something inside Daniel was activated. For the first time in years, he felt energized by the possibility of change. He decided to give it a shot. 6 months wasn't that much time, after all, and he had already wasted years in dead-end jobs. What did he have to lose? That night, he committed to following the plan to the letter. He started by choosing a skill. He decided to learn programming. The market was hot, and remote work was a reality accessible to those who mastered this skill. He discovered that there were countless free and paid resources available online. He chose an introductory course that promised to teach the fundamentals in 30 days, as long as the student dedicated at least 1 hour a day. In the first few days, progress was slow. Daniel, exhausted after work, could barely focus on the online lessons. However, he pressed on, following the schedule rigidly. Little by little, something changed. His skill began to evolve. Understanding the logic behind the code became increasingly natural, and he began developing small projects as part of the learning process. In no time, Daniel felt he was mastering the basics. After the first month, he was already creating small websites and simple apps. He decided to take the next step, offering his services as a freelancer. He signed up for several remote work platforms, like Upwork and Freelancer, where he accepted low-paying projects. At first, the offers were scarce, and the payments were meager, but he didn't give up. He knew this was part of the process. He was building a portfolio. By the third month, Daniel was starting to receive requests for larger projects. His dedication in his few free hours was beginning to pay off. He had satisfied clients, good reviews, and his name was starting to circulate on the platforms. In parallel, he decided to follow the third pillar of the code, creating his own digital asset. Using his new skills, he began developing a basic programming course for beginners, something he knew could attract the attention of many people who, like him in the past, were looking for a life change. The course launched at the end of the fourth month. To his surprise, it had an immediate response. People began enrolling, and sales quickly grew thanks to simple digital marketing strategies he had learned along the way. The money started coming in. Initially modest, but steadily. By the sixth month, Daniel hardly recognized his own life. His course was becoming a success on the platform, generating significant passive income. His freelance work had multiplied, and he was earning more in 2 hours a day than he had earned in an entire month at the coffee shop. He finally decided to quit his job and devote himself entirely to the new business he had created with just his free time. Daniel had become a living example of how the code of free time could transform lives. The secret wasn't in working more or finding a magic formula. It was in the discipline of using previously wasted time efficiently. He had discovered that, in a world where everyone is distracted, the person who can focus on learning, applying, and building something relevant is the one who succeeds. Today, Daniel not only lives comfortably but has also become a mentor to others who, like him, were looking for a way out of a stifling and unproductive routine. He created an online community called Awakening Time, where he shares his experiences and teaches others how to use their free time to achieve seemingly impossible goals. 6 months had changed his life forever. It wasn't a miracle, nor an empty promise. It was the power of concentrated transformation in free time. The old Daniel, who spent hours on the couch wasting his time, had disappeared. In his place stood someone who had finally discovered the value of every minute.